Collected Essays of Valerie Lynn Stevens. Minding the Heart. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you. Alfred Adler. Bringing pain to others is inevitable. It is as inevitable as that of our own imminent mortality. For no matter whatever side we think ourselves to be on, that of God and striving to do good, or that of the devil and doing evil, can we ever avoid harming none? What is the way one should conduct oneself in life? Should we let our passions and whims reign, or reason and so-called righteousness? But truly, some will inevitably get scathed in the process of that, of each our own self-actualization and search for fulfillment. I think justice to be a subjective matter just as much as an objective, strictly abstract, legalistic matter and concept. This is why perhaps we cannot live a life mapped perfectly out as to how to live or not live. Perhaps the true semblance of order and beauty breached is when we are just being, just living by that which we most naturally and authentically are. Perhaps this is the only true virtue, paradoxically so, arising out of those moments when we are focused upon doing what we need to be and do first for ourselves and the cause of our own inward sustenance and balance. For true altruism cannot be conceived, let alone born, from the barren womb of self-neglect. Furthermore, the most violent and insidious variations of savagery in actuality often reside within civility, or rather, within the heart of the socially engineered beast. It is also a force external which enters into our minds, confounding us to our truest state of inherent grace and wholeness. And it comes from what I believe, as a follower of Judeo-Christianity, those principles unseen, subatomic quantum forces. For the human entity only wishes to harm itself and or others when its most authentic self is stifled and so battered by the outside world, making us thus vulnerable to that fear, doubt, and self-loathing, which eventually becomes both imposed upon and exploited by others. Thus, perhaps, as it so often turns out to be, the answer to how we should be or live our lives in a manner most conducive to the stoic causes of self-preservation, self-actualization, and collective social interest is contrary to what the unbearded bards of positivism so often tell us. In finale, perhaps authenticity of being is that one virtue unmerited, and when left unheeded is that one secret of the truest saints of this earth. Perhaps self-acceptance in all of one's glory and infamy is the one and only master key to those gates of heaven residing both above and here below. For religiosity may indeed be dogmatically unsound, but a deep and abiding spirituality knows that God and all things transcendent reside only beneath the seeming chaos and exquisitely bewildering complexity of God's creation. We would do well to let our hearts be our mind, and reserve for that reasoning organ, the intellect, the task of minding the heart only when it has forgotten its true purpose, only when it has forgotten the logistics of its own inherent existential geography. For the answers are always there within us, as they were breathed into us by our sovereign Creator Himself. In the beginning, God created it all and saw that it was good. He still thinks so, but has left it up to us what we will choose to do with what He has granted us. Accountability rests squarely within each our own individual laps. What will we choose in this moment, good or evil? Eternity weighs itself without ceasing upon this pole. For we all know that there is indeed such a thing as absolute truth and absolute right or wrong, despite how we may have been misinformed.